This is Andi Purewal, Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by former IBF World Champion Darren Barker here in Manchester. Darren, firstly, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Love coming to Manchester. It's one of my favourite cities, so yeah, happy to be here.
Good to hear. And obviously, the Easter weekend started. Well, I say Easter weekend. It started last night. Obviously, bank holiday. Did you go up too much? Do you enjoy your night last night?
No, I didn't really do anything. I'm boring. Like, we've been doing this now for what, 3.5 years. It was funny. I said to Chris yesterday, I wouldn't be able to tell you how many hotel rooms I've stayed in. So the novelty of going out is worn off a little bit now. So yeah, I'm a good boy these days. Actually, I'm not. It's not even being good. I'm just boring. I'm a boring sod. I'm 40 next month, so I've slowed right down.
Don't worry, Darren. I'm sure you'll still be out at some point this weekend to enjoy the warm weather. But obviously, as we say, we're here in Manchester. Conor Benn, Chris Van Heerden. Conor, a big favourite for this fight. What have you made of people maybe overlooking the challenge of Chris Van Heerden, or do you think they're right to do so because of his lack of activity over the last few years?
Yeah, and I think when he stepped up, I mean, look, the only fight really what you can talk about is the Spence fight, and he was well beaten. He just allowed Spence to get into a rhythm early, and it was just all one-way traffic. I do have Conor as a big favourite going into this fight, and I'm trying to make a case for Van Heerden. It's difficult, I'm not going to lie. And then you start, I ask myself the question, what threats does Van Heerden pose to Conor? He's a southpaw, he is experienced. He's a gym rat, he's very fit. I know he's past his prime, but this is everything to Chris Van Heerden. You've seen how emotional he gets when he talks about his dad. He's desperate to prove to his dad that the sacrifices he's made, all the birthdays he missed moving to America, was all worth it. So this is his big moment. So when you've got someone driven by that much emotion and desire to succeed, then they become difficult to beat. I just feel, again, looking at this fight and looking at how Van Heerden can win or where there could be possibilities, I feel if it gets to about the midway point and he's weathered a really big storm, and then he starts letting his hands go a little bit and gets into a little bit of a rhythm of his own, how will Conor deal with that? But that's all ifs and maybes. What I expect to happen is Conor to come out, fast start, landing some brutal body shots to slow the movement of Van Heerden down and get the job done around the midway point. I just think he's too fresh and punching too hard at the minute, full of confidence. I think he's got too much for Van Heerden. But it is another test. And then we move on to whatever comes to the table for Conor next. I mean, that's exciting, isn't it? It's a big pot of gold for Conor every time he fights, but we're getting closer now to those really big, meaningful fights, so it'll be interesting.
What would you like to see next for him, Darren? We've seen that Carl Brook and Chris Eubank Jr. have agreed some form of a catch rate, so you'd imagine in the summer the Brook fight's out of the window. So where does it leave Conor? If you could choose or advise him on maybe 2 or 3 opponents to look at, who would you like to see him in there with?
I see Broner, Garcia being banded around, like you say. I think Kell will be gone. I don't think Kell would entertain that fight anyway. But yeah, I guess a big name, a gatekeeper type, and then I guess some sort of eliminator for a world title. I guess so. Another big name. But every time Conor fights, he's a big draw. He puts bums on seats. So people will pay to watch him, will support him, but we want to see him in that fight where you go, I don't know who's going to win this, a real 50-50 fight, and I think we're creeping closer towards that now.
Tommy McCarthy, Chris Billam-Smith 2, what do you expect to see happen this time around, Darren?
I think it could be a little cagier to start with. First fight was brilliant. I don't quite think it will be round 13 to start with, but I think as the fight progresses, they will get stuck in. I think styles will gel again, but I just feel it might be a bit of a cagier start, and then as the fight progresses, I think it will catch a light. It's a real pick and fight. I think at the desk last time, I think we had Tommy McCarthy by 1. Very close fight, could have gone either way. Don't know who I favour. I don't know who I favour. I feel there's more to come from Chris Billam-Smith. I think we've yet to see the best of him. So bearing that in mind, that's exciting if you're a CBS fan. Tommy McCarthy, I love him when he gets into his rhythm. He's on his toes, he's bouncing around and gets behind the jab. He's a very hard man to beat. But yeah, really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a really good fight.
Just wait for his card, just a couple of other fights. I want to get your thoughts on Darren. I'm sure next Saturday night you'll be tuning in like the rest of us. Tyson Fury versus Dillian-Whyte. What's your kind of, not necessarily your final thoughts, but this may be the last time we do an interview beforehand. So just for me, your take, what do you expect to happen between the pair of them next Saturday night?
Well, look, again, I have Tyson Fury favourite. It's very hard to bet against a man that's never been beaten. He showed he's so versatile in the way that he can approach a fight on the front foot, on the back foot. He's believing in his size and power, and he's getting that into play. Well, if the last fight's anything to go by, he certainly is. So, look, I imagine Dillian-Whyte getting to centre ring, trying to push Tyson Fury back. Then it's how Fury opts to approach the fight. Does he look to mix fire with fire? I don't think he will. I think he's too intelligent to do that. Because let's get it right, I think the only chance that Dillian-Whyte has is to try and land a big shot, preferably that left hook. It's going to be very difficult though, because he's so slick for a big guy, Fury. So I imagine Fury at the centre ring, maybe moving around a little semicircle and trying to frustrate and annoy Dillian-Whyte and go through the gears as the fight goes along. But I'm really looking forward to it.
What's your final prediction on it?
Fury points.
Away from that one, it seems like we will definitely see Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua rematch now. Just want to get your thoughts on this when it does come around, when it's all officially announced. How does AJ need to approach it? And from kind of a selfish standpoint for his own career, despite how horrible everything is that's going on in the Ukraine, how much can AJ kind of benefit from that? Because it might be difficult for Alexander to fully concentrate through camp, knowing what's going back on in his homeland.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be thinking about anything of that sort of nature, though I'm sure he's very sympathetic of what's going on in Usyk's life and in his homeland. But I think, look, to answer your question, how does he approach the fight? I think he's just got to go out there and let his hands go. You know, it's the only division in boxing where you can weigh 20 pounds heavier than your opponent. So how do you get that into play? Get to centre ring and let your hands go. Like, just literally throw bombs. I mean, there's got to be smart, intelligent work to it. Jabs to the body, come over the right hand. But I just feel Usyk is just a master. He's an absolute master. I think he sold the fight off of the basis of what I just said. AJ will say, look, I was a little bit rebellious last time. I was trying to outbox the master to prove that I'm a good boxer. It didn't go to plan. This time I'm going to knock his head off. I think you sell the rematch off that basis, but I just can't look past Usyk. I think we're witnessing somebody who's as close to mastering boxing as anyone. I mean, he's perfected the art of hitting and not being hit. He's so intelligent, he's so good. His angles, the way he finds the openings is tremendous. And I think we see last time looking a decent size heavyweight now. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very difficult night for AJ.
Final one, Darren. We saw last weekend Gennady Golovkin return to the boxing ring. Started slow, got the job done in the end though. Some people not necessarily wanting to see that trilogy back with Canelo on the back of that performance. What's your thoughts? Are you still kind of keen to see it, or would you rather not see it?
He deserves it. He deserves to have something out of the fights that they've had. He won the first fight, absolutely. Didn't get it. I feel he does deserve the fight. Do I want to see it? No. I think Canelo is just on the rise, and Golovkin's slightly on the slide. I think he beats him comfortably. I thought, early on in that Murata fight, I was thinking he's going to lose this. I thought he was shot. The body shots were hurting him. He looked unsteady on his legs. But one thing he showed, he's a warrior. He can still whack. So yeah, look, he deserves a fight. Do I want to see it? Probably not. And I fancy Canelo's really strongly in that.
Well, Darren, leave it there now. Leave it to the rest of your day.
Mate.
Thank you.
We're almost.
I know we're almost matching. You've got white trainers. I've got black on, so that's literally the only difference.
£20 as seen on screen.
Well, Darren, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Good, mate.